that, or at least know that they should. And not only am I not the only one doing it, I know Cindy wants to do that for people that are serving under her as well. And so I thought, what if we just all partnered together and provided some large-scale training activity to do together? Olivia's raising her hand. Yeah. So the few that I've talked with that have said, yeah, we want to be a part of it. One is Brush Prairie Baptist, which if you just drive 119th down that way, you will run into it. And then another one is Heritage Bible Church, which is up in Cathlamet, Washington. There was Battleground Baptist up in Battleground. Okay. So that's something I'm wanting for us to do. So keep your ears peeled for that. I will give you more details as there are more details. I've pretty much just given you everything I've got just now. But wanting to restart our Bible Explorer classes, and we're planning to do that in the fall. And then you've heard a little bit about a men's retreat that we're trying to pull off. Men's roundup has been canceled, and so I put it as my goal, but honestly there's a team of guys working on it, and they're doing a lot more work than I am. But I wanted to put that out there in front of us as well. So those were my top 4. Does anyone have questions on either things from this last year for me or upcoming items on my plate? Gail, I choose you. We're going to probably have something that looks pretty similar to what we did beforehand. If anyone remembers, in the past, I've encouraged us. We set it up originally years and years ago as an age and stage thing, but I've encouraged you all, and just to encourage you again, cross-pollinate. There's so much you can learn from other groups, okay? And so if you typically in the past have gone to a seniors group or kind of the young families group or whatever, there's no rule that you're not allowed to go to any other group. Everyone is welcome at every group, and I encourage that. In restarting them, my plan is by the end of this month to have a more definite plan as to what each group is going through, who are going to be the teachers, so I don't have any more specifics than that. Okay? But it's probably going to look similar to what we had before COVID. Okay. Any other questions on my stuff? All right. Cindy.
I don't know about this. Hi, guys. I've never been given this power. I see. Oh, sure. So I get to give this speech? Yep. Okay. All right. So Tyler's going to do this part, so I'm going to start this. So a lot of what you're going to hear from us sharing today is talking about the hope of gearing things back up for things getting back to normal. And one thing that we have been running into is that as we are trying to start things back up, one of the things to do to make that happen is to actually get the people that used to help and volunteers. But there's an interesting post-COVID reaction, which is volunteers aren't coming back. And at first we thought, is this something here? But as we've been talking with lots of different other ministries, even friends I have in different parts of the U.S., this is a really common thing that is happening in ministries. There's something about having had a break for so long, and as we're wanting to restart stuff, people aren't rejoining. And so that's just not from my ministry standpoint, that's from Tyler's, that's from Scott, all of us. As we are like, hey, let's get this ministry going, it's falling flat because people, I don't know, it's just been, we kind of have gotten used to a new way of things. So it's really our desire, it's really our hope to get things back on track, but we really need everybody to help. So we have a sign-up list that we're going to sign around. Tyler, are these the same? Okay, they're both the same, so you only have to sign one once. But what I want you to do is I want you to think of this in a very unique way, because one thing that we've run into is we have our lists of people that have helped in the past, and we've said, hey, can you help us out? But we don't hear back. So these lists, I want you to pretend that today, every ministry you see in here, I want you to imagine we have nobody. even if you know, for example, I'm a greeter and I help on the greeting team, I still want you to sign up to be on the greeters team. So these are completely blank, and the numbers, the spots that are open represent like how many people we need for those teams. So even if you know you help in children's ministry or whatever the ministry it is, we want you to sign up on there and let us know. Is that clear? Did I hit the point you wanted, Tyler? Yeah, so in a nutshell, Tyler just said if you're interested, want more information, put your name on that, we will get in touch with you. Scott, could I have you put those on both sides? Okay, so sign up in many categories. We need your help. We're excited to get back to the way things were. All right, so I am, if I didn't say, I'm Cindy. I get to oversee family ministries and the different stuff that we go through there. So we're going to go over successes, stuff that we've had happening in children's ministry. We're just really proud of the fact we were able to get some of our programs going, like Good News Club was happening despite the pandemic happening, even when school wasn't back in person. They were able to get that going. Those ladies did a great job. Also, Vacation Bible School is happening. You may remember an email from me saying, hey, I don't know if we can make this happen because we're not getting the volunteers. But you guys rose to that challenge and you guys signed up. And just a side note on that, I cannot tell you how many other churches have asked me personally, hey, how are you doing that? Because we're not able to. Nobody's volunteering and we're not able to do a VBS. So we're also getting many calls from parents going, hey, my church isn't doing a VBS. Is it true you're having one? So just thank you for volunteering. And side note, although I do and I have a great team, due to just unusual circumstances, I went from having 16 crew leaders to 11 in just 1 week. And so if you are interested in helping, it's kind of like being I always say like a camp counselor with teens, children, you get assigned a small group and you take them from station to station. You help them answer questions about like the Bible and the lesson and things like that. We need crew leaders. So in fact, we need them so bad that we're going to have to put a cap on how many kids can come to VBS if we don't get more for that. So if you can help out with that, let me know. Sorry, that was a side note, but I'm excited. VBS is happening despite all the kind of hardships that we've run into. Guest services, this team has adapted well, even with all the changes and the different things that we've had, so really proud of that team. We're seeing lots of new faces as things are getting back to normal, so that's exciting. In youth ministry, we completed another school year, but we were able to do teen accountability groups. We were able to do the zone, and we were able to get youth events going. And our interns have just done an awesome job navigating that. They're brand new interns this year, and learning how to do all those things during COVID has been a very unusual task. So that has been really good. Those are some of our highlights. Let's see if I can get this. Awesome. All right. So just like Tyler, I have a ton of goals, but these are my main things I want to highlight for you guys. Children's ministry, basically, this summer, we're excited we're able to have our Vacation Bible School. Our basketball camp is, both of those events are open, registration, so excited to get those going. And then, again, that push in the fall, we want to get all of our programs hopefully running close to what they were. We want to start to get all of our volunteers lists back up and running for that, too. So, as far as the outreach crew, there's a lot of things happening with that. We were really surprised. If you don't know, we have a coffee ministry that goes over to the school and makes professional, good coffee for the teachers over there. And we were sure they were going to say, no way, don't come back, COVID. But the principal was like, yes, come back. And so we're like, oh, okay. But we've had such a break from that during COVID. We need more volunteers. We need helpers with that. So if that's something you want to help about, that is incredible ministry to love on our teachers and faculty across the street. We got some family fun nights happening, different training events for parents, all that stuff we want to get focused on. So, and then last but not least, this is the big thing I want to highlight in youth ministry. You may see in the budget, our interns have decided they're going to not continue their internship full-time. It was offered to them. They expressed that they want to kind of focus on doing full-time work and studies. However, they still love youth ministry, and we love them. So they've committed to stay on helping with the zone and also in hopes of helping a new youth coordinator. So that's kind of the plan where our interns are going. And then so that kind of, when that decision was made, that put us in a point where we've known for a long time we have to hire a youth coordinator. If you don't know the story of our search for youth coordinator, when COVID happened, our former youth coordinator had stepped down, and if you've ever tried to look for somebody for a job, when there's no job happening, it's impossible. So it's been a very interesting situation to be in, knowing this is a position we need to hire for, but at the time, ministry wasn't happening. So about a year ago, I started praying. I was like, Lord, I don't know how to do this because I need to hire somebody, but nothing's happening. So I did one of those like impossible prayers, just like, okay, God, so can you just make that happen? Because I don't know what to do. And I don't know how to get that position. Can you just drop somebody in our path, right? He didn't drop him in our path. He dropped him on an airline seat. And it happened to be just amazing, the Lord working, that Tyler and Olivia Walsh were going to, what conference was it? Gospel Coalition Conference, and they took a seat on their airline. And there's this young man sitting next to them, and they struck up a conversation. Wouldn't you know it, he was going to that conference, and that he's studying to be a youth pastor. And I get this hilarious text from Tyler, and just like, I have found the one. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know what he's talking about. How can, I just ignored it. Sorry, Tyler. I'm like, okay, whatever. Anyway, turns out he was like serious. He's like, no, I got to introduce you to this guy. And so his name is Peter. We met. We talked about youth ministry, got to hear his heart a bit. And so we kind of told him where our church is at, where our youth ministry is at. We kind of said, are you interested? And he's like, yeah. We're like, yay. And so we had him check out the zone, and then we did an actual formal interview. So I'm just excited to say I've heard his heart. I've heard from his references, like shining, awesome reviews of this young man. And his name is Peter Lundahl, and he has accepted the position to be our youth coordinator. Woohoo! So the Lord put him in our path, and he's here today. So I'm going to actually invite Peter. Come on up. So we are excited Peter's here. I'll put this a little higher. Poor Peter. I offered him the job. I'm like, you want to come for a little interview at the family meeting? So he's here. So this is Peter. Peter, would you just share briefly like how you came to know the Lord and how you got involved in youth ministry and your passion for it?
So I actually grew up going to Laurelwood Baptist Church, just on the other side of Vancouver. I've been going there since kindergarten or so with my family, so I've grown up in the church. My parents are super strong in the faith, and they taught me really well, and so I've just always been involved in church and ministry, and so I started going to youth group in 6th grade, and just absolutely loved it. When I was in like 5th grade going into 6th grade, I was super nervous. I didn't really have a lot of friends who were going into youth group, and like high schoolers were intimidating. And so I didn't really want to go. My mom was like, Peter, you have to go to youth group. You have to go to youth group. And so she made me go. And eventually, about halfway through 6th grade, I was like, man, I love this. And so I've been involved in youth group since then. My junior year of high school, I started leading a middle school group. We had like the middle school and high school split. And so I was able to go to youth group as a student, lead in the middle school youth group. And so I kind of lead in a small group, planning some events and whatnot. And since then, I've just really just kind of been growing and just falling in love with youth ministry. There's something just really special about it. And so for the last couple years ago, it's kind of a similar story to how I ended up here. I connected with a youth pastor from Journey Community Church out in Camas, and didn't really think much of it. We'd do camps and stuff together. And at one point, he just messaged me out of the blue, and he was like, hey, I have this intern. He's leaving in May. Do you want to start in June? And so a couple years ago, that was just fall into my lap. And so I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And so that's where I've been the last couple years, learning with him and just being involved in youth ministry there. And so that's been a passion of mine. I started going to school for youth ministry, studying the Bible. And so, yeah.
Will you just share briefly where you're going to school and kind of where your desire is with that track?
Yeah, I am currently taking online classes from Moody Bible Institute, which is based out of Chicago. I'm a biblical studies major, so I have one more year left in that to have my bachelor's degree, and then I haven't fully decided yet, but I think I'm going to end up going to seminary at Western Theological Seminary to get my MDiv and just continue learning and growing there.
Thank you, Peter. So I think we should just take a second and pray for Peter. And just an amazing, ask us sometime all the ways God has worked this out. It's been really incredible. Peter's internship over at Journey ends the end of August, and we had made like the big goal to have somebody to start by September 1st. And it was just like, whoa, that's awesome. So God's just working and making that clear. So let's just take a second and pray for Peter, and we will move on. God, thank you so much. You are at work, even when things feel impossible, even when it feels like we don't know what to do. And I thank you for just loving me and loving this church and just bringing somebody that loves you. And I really feel is going to do a great job and love our teens. And God, we just pray that you would protect him, that you would help him as he starts back with us in the fall, and as he just seeks to work with our youth, that you just bless him in that ministry and help us as a church family to love and encourage him and help him through that path. And just please be with our teens, strengthen and help them through just a difficult time in this world. It's in your name we pray. Amen. All right. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate you coming. Woohoo! That's my summary. Is there any other questions? I know I covered a lot, so for me. Was that that was a wave. All right, going once, going twice. All right, I think Scott. Oh, Jenny.
It still has to go down. I'm not even that tall. I'm the short one here. Well, mine's going to be pretty short, like me. So we've still been the deacons. We've still been continuing to meet the needs of the community and our church family. We were able to deliver 15 cards, 10 bunches of flowers, lots of meals to 4 different families, 6 gift cards, yard work for 2 families. The cards and the flowers for about 15 different people. And one thing that we've been really working on this time, the last 6 months, is being really intentional about how we're helping people. It's kind of just been really easy in the past to send a message out, okay, so-and-so had surgery, who can deliver flowers? So we kind of reminded ourselves like why we're doing this, and really to be intentional about how we're meeting the needs of the people. For example, we had somebody who had oral surgery who hadn't been able to eat real food for quite a while. So rather than take flowers, we took a Papa Murphy's gift card for when they really could chew. And that was really appreciated, I think, more than the flowers would have been. So it's just things like that that we're doing. If you have not been over to the Felida food pantry, I invite you to just go take a look and see what's going on over there. We've got several people who are working diligently every single week to make that a success. It continues to be a great success and meet the needs of people. Word is getting out that we have it. We've had people coming in to kind of see what we're all about because they've heard that we've had this, that we have this food pantry available. And I've actually seen a couple of those people coming back to church. So it's been a great outreach. We've actually extended the invitation to the Arabic church that uses our facility after we do on Sunday. We've extended the invitation for them and their families to use the food pantry as well. We've had 2 fridge freezer combos, more lights added, which by those will turn themselves off if we forget to leave them on, which is great. We've had lots of shelves donated. All of these things were donated by an anonymous donor. And I just want to give a shout out to Suzanne, who comes at least twice a week to make sure that the old stuff has been removed so that there's room for the new stuff that comes in. And she's working diligently along with other people who they will work behind the scenes, and they're not getting any glory for what they're doing except from what God is giving them. So, yeah, she has lots and lots of help. So, so that's it for the deacons. Any questions? Tyler. Yeah, so we're using the Felida Food Pantry as an outreach. So we're not opening it to the general public as far as like somebody who wants to just come to the church and then go over there. We're really using it as an outreach to sort of get to know more people. So we are encouraging people, if you're a regular attender or if you're a member here, to bring some friends with you or anybody who you think might be in need, to just go, take this opportunity to invite them over and say, hey, I know that you've been in need lately, because, we all know somebody who's been in need lately because of COVID. It's still going on, even though, we're getting somewhat back to normal. There's still a lot of people who are out of work and are in need. So, Tyler's gave us a great reminder just to, invite your friends, invite your neighbors. I live in Battleground, and I've had some of my neighbors come with me, who I've just said, hey, we've got this available. Do you want to take the drive out there with me? And they come and get a few things and have been very grateful for it. So, Karen? Yeah, so if you didn't hear what Karen said, is about a month ago, there was a gentleman who just came in during service and was in need and asked if we had any resources available. And Karen, as a greeter, was able to get him in touch with Olivia, and then Olivia was able to get the help of an elder. And the gentleman did go over and did some shopping over there, and was very grateful. I was over there too. I was taking pictures. I had planned to show you, but I didn't get around to doing it, so sorry. I did take the pictures, I just didn't get around to getting them to Tyler, but so I was over there and I did get to listen to this gentleman, and he was very grateful for the fact that, not only were we able to, provide this for him, but that we were there listening to his story. That's just sort of what it's about, is reaching people, however it's however it's happening. All right, that's all for the deacons.
I'm a train. Don't worry about it. Okay. Okay, missions and then worship, those two areas of ministry I get to oversee. Some successes, in spite of COVID completely changing how we did our community shoebox packing party, it really went very well. We had people sign up for shifts. We did 2 shifts, I think, on Friday night, and then 4 shifts on Saturday. And all shifts were well attended, and we exceeded our goal and packed 5,286 shoeboxes. Look at the amount raised for shipping, $47,000. You need to, yeah, praise God. Whenever you think about what our church is doing as far as missions, that's reaching out to the world cross-culturally, you always want to remember that. That's a significant investment of time and money there. We continue, of course, to support our missionary partners with financial and prayer support, and our missionary care team sent cards, care packages. It's one of the things we've been trying to do better over the past few years, is remember them on their birthdays, anniversaries, those kinds of things. Some highlighted goals for this coming year: our goal of 5,200 for shoeboxes and 46,800 for shipping. We are wanting to, and this is reflected in the budget, the Lowens, which some of you stayed a few weeks ago when they were here, and the ministry that they're going to be doing in the Middle East. And so we want to partner with them in that. And then we want to do get back to where we would highlight our missionary partners in the worship service and have prayer for them. I want to get back into doing that. Okay, that's just some highlight stuff for missions. Any questions on any of those? Yes, Bess? They haven't yet. They're still trying to get, I'm assuming it's a governmental thing. All the missionaries that left the Philippines are having trouble getting back in. Yes, I think, you know, it's a COVID thing, I'm pretty sure. They're just being very careful. Any other missions questions? Okay, then for worship ministry, some successes. Claire was hired as our new worship team leader. And Jacob Rollins, who's not here and gets married, is it next week? 6 days, but who's counting? Okay. Yeah, Jacob did an outstanding job as our interim worship team leader throughout the whole COVID craziness. So we are thankful to God for him. We've added some new technology to improve the live stream. If you want to know more about that technology and learn how to help with that, you want to talk to Mark Benson, who's there in the back. And our preaching team began a new alternate series, not just for Sunday school. So that's the other members of the preaching team. Some goals for the coming year. This is one of the things I really need some volunteers for. So that overflow room back there and all those nice rows and everything. Okay, well then when we go from worship to the second hour for our Bible Explorer classes, I'm assuming we're going to be using that room, right, Tyler? So that room needs to get rearranged and set up for class. So there's going to be like an overflow standard setup, and there's going to be a classroom standard setup. And I need a team who, hopefully I could have enough people on that who can rotate, so it's not the same people doing it every single Sunday. But that's something I could really use help for. So if you are interested, there's probably not a line on that sign-up sheet. Make one. Just say, I really want to help Pastor Scott with the room setup. And there are places on that sheet for additional worship team volunteers, instrumentalists, singers, and tech people. Tech involves changing the slides like this, not using this, the video, and the sound. Hi, Mike. Mike Doctor and Scott Heffley are our two sound geniuses, and they are so faithful, but they could use some additional help too. Any questions on any of that? Okay. I think that takes us to funding the plan, which is the budget. So I'll just start with some introductory comments. The budget basically includes 3 categories of expenses. There's the administrative stuff, most of which is, just kind of those givens like utilities and so forth. And then ministry plans, that's where all of our ministry leaders, so Tyler and Cindy and I talk to all the ministry leaders and we get from them what plans and what budget they want. And then staff. Administrative expenses are largely non-discretionary, but some can be reduced. So somebody called me the other day and said, holy smokes, this online giving cost, which is somewhere second page, under finances it says online giving fees, and the budget for next year is $4,200. And you understand the way that works, if I'm correct, and Greg, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that's like or Jane, she's over there, that's a percentage that we pay for the processing of those online gifts, okay? So it's not like we pay $4,200 and then we get to do that. It's each transaction gets charged a percentage. So you might think, wow, that seems like a lot. Well, it is, but it's for the convenience, and so people on their phones or at home on their PCs can give online. However, if you would like to help us save money on that, most banks and credit unions now offer an online giving service where you go in and you're able to basically give to Felida Bible Church. You put in our address and all that, and then they issue a check. And most institutions, as far as I know my credit union doesn't charge anything for that. So if you like the convenience of giving online, you don't like writing checks anymore, and you don't want to put it on your credit card because there's a fee in there too, that's something you could do, and that would help with some of those administrative costs. Ministry plans or expenses, the amounts requested by ministry leaders for the upcoming year. Okay, then staff salary recommendations. For this, we use an online resource which compares staff positions that we have with similar job descriptions with people for similar job experience and education and so on at similar churches that are in demographics like ours. That gives the elders some more or less objective information on which to then cogitate and come up with the budget. So for this coming year, the basic increase for staff is a 1.5 COLA, cost of living adjustment. A couple of differences, my increase is 1% at my request, and Tyler's is 4% because he's completed a master's degree at Western Seminary. Congratulations, Tyler. And there's a differential because of that, having that additional education. So we're stair-stepping that over a 2-year process. And then I have to apologize. I sent out an untruth. I sent an email out a few days ago, so I'm asking for forgiveness right now. I thought, in my ignorance, I thought that the youth coordinator position was such that, well, I thought it was a 10-month thing and it's a 12-month thing. Anyway, it was like a little difference there. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's great. Don't worry about it. All right, I just want to give you some numbers. Year to date from July through May, our budget was $390,000. Our actual income has been close to $371, and our actual expense has been $351. So we gave below budget, but we also spent below income. Does that make sense? These are if you like monthly, if you like thinking monthly, here's the monthly figures. Our current budget is roughly 35 and a half a month. The amount we're expecting to spend throughout the rest of this year, which there's the rest of this month, and that's it, the rest of this month. And then broken down over 12 months, that's that average. Actual giving has been running, again, on average, some months more, some months less, about $33,700, and the proposed budget is $36,413 a month. And these are our current account balances. According to Jane, as of Thursday, we had roughly $164K in all of our accounts. Of that, 130 is unrestricted, and 33,000 is designated for certain purposes. So, and then we have the special needs account, which is used by the deacons and for those kind of special needs that come up. Oh, too far. Yes, Russ. I don't know. Do you know, Jane? Do you know what the balance is on the mortgage? Okay. We can look that up and... Okay, if you didn't hear, we're due for a review. Apparently our rate is adjustable, and it could possibly go down, which would be nice. Okay. Hi, Soph. Go ahead. Yeah. What's going on with the parking lot? Well, basically, like so many things, COVID derailed. We were just not able to proceed with the whole process of getting bids and doing fundraising and getting that done. So they just got postponed. So we're trying to get back on track with that project. So we're going to be getting bids and then coming back to you and saying this is how much. And so it's not part of the budget itself. It would be an over and above project that we would fund. But it's definitely needed. Yes. Yes.
How about lighting retrofits, especially for the building downstairs, would reduce our utility bill by quite a bit?
Right. Lighting retrofit, I know it's been talked about. Whoever I talked to about it, I said, hey, great, why don't you get us a bid? And I haven't heard anything back. So it's just something, yeah, if somebody is interested in pursuing that, by all means, come and talk to me or one of the other elders, and we can get bids and see what it would cost to do that and how much we'd save. Yeah, definitely open to it. We just need somebody to pursue it. So I had something else I was going to say. Hang on, I'll get there. No, you know what it is, Jenny? It's not that I don't want to recognize you. It's that I have a thought, and if I don't exercise my thought, I'm going to lose it. Okay? So those are pretty good numbers, especially that 130K that's unrestricted. So, I mean, some of the things to think about when you think about the budget, and you think, ooh, that's higher, you know, it's higher than last year's budget, and it's definitely higher than last year's income. Things to think about, though, attendance patterns have definitely been up. We have a whole bunch of new members, and, yeah, there was another thought. Oh, our unrestricted, I see you laughing at me, Suzanne. I hear that. That's a pretty good savings, you know, even if we didn't do all that great in giving and only gave what we gave this year, which I'm confident will not be the case, we're still in pretty good shape. So now, Jenny. I meant Jenny White. Jenny, okay, Jenny Purcell, you're talking. Yeah, we've had a lot of generous giving to the special needs fund. I think, yeah, the balance, and this is after being used a lot this past year, still over $7,000. Okay. Jenny White. I guess we are, yeah. Let's just go ahead and do that. Yeah. Yeah, the big added expense for there was we've noticed we have several pieces of siding on our buildings that are rotting and need replacement. Also, I don't know if anybody's noticed, the price of lumber is insane. So I don't know if we can wait a little while and see if it'll come down a little, but that's an estimate, a guesstimate of needing to do that because those pieces need to be replaced. A tree, Christmas trees? I don't know if Christmas trees will do it. Okay, other questions? Anything goes? Yes? Okay, question number one. Custodian.
Okay, I'm confused as to why last year's is the same as this coming year when we weren't open most of last year. So I'm just curious, was just extra work performed in light of the fact that we weren't meeting?
Well,
Bathrooms had to be cleaned.
yeah, I mean, we still had a certain amount of cleaning that had to be done, and not everything was completely shut down all that long. You know, we were still up here. We were, you know, once we got going. I don't know if you want specifics. You could go ahead.
We also decided to use that opportunity to do some deep cleaning. So, for example, when COVID was first happening, we weren't meeting in the auditorium, but downstairs. We took all the pews out and did a deep clean of the carpets in here and things like that as well. So we took the opportunity to do some deep cleaning as well.
Right. So there were some things that we normally don't do at all that we decided to do as long as we could. In I got the mic. We asked around if somebody wanted to do that, and Cindy's got her hand up.
More information to come. We're not doing the church picnic this year. However, in the next year, we're doing a big block party, Felida celebration for our 50th.
Yeah, so we've got a big, well, we're starting. We want to get a planning team together, and there's another opportunity. If you like planning events, especially parties, talk to Tyler, and they're putting a team together for a 50th anniversary celebration. So we will definitely have something big happening in 2022, but we don't have a plan for a picnic this year. Yeah, I know, it's sad. Have people over to your house. Go ahead. I had somebody else ask me about that. That sounds real sketchy, doesn't it? No, it's precisely what you want it to be. It's going to be equipping our youth and parents to be able to give our students a healthy biblical understanding of those issues to counter the flood of misinformation that they're getting from our culture. So that is called trying to do a better job of equipping our students to handle the onslaught.
Hey, Scott, can you just repeat what she asked? We didn't.
Oh, she said there's an amount in there for sexuality and gender training.
I don't need any training on what I get.
So, yeah, does the answer make sense now? The whole goal is to help our church, help our families, help our students be able to hold fast to God's design for sexuality and gender, even though the culture is gone completely insane and is making every effort possible to indoctrinate them in a philosophy and understanding of sexuality that will ultimately be harmful to them and dishonoring to the Lord. One more.
On our missionary gift
Yep.
to organizations,
Yep.
how do we determine that? I mean, personally, I feel like Option 360 and Open House Ministries are in our neighborhood.
Right.
And those are like big deals right now. I mean, we're talking, preserving life, and there's a big homelessness epidemic. And I'd like to see our church give a little bit more to those ministries. That's just a personal thing. Thank you, Sophie, for the bottle thing for Option 360.
Yeah, and that's an off-budget thing, so whatever was raised for that will not be reflected here. So it's both and. Well, there's the historical process. I mean, I think the last year's budget, we did some increase in those things, probably because you brought it up then too, and we did increase those.
I mean, that's the one thing the church is, to me, needs to have their hands fully involved in, and that's
Right,
pro-life and reaching out to people whose lives are.
right. So it's like with everything else, it's trying to balance all these different priorities and come up with an end number that stretches us but doesn't freak us out. None of that, I hope you all realize that just because we have an official church partnership with these groups, that doesn't limit anybody from giving. I mean, you know, our family, we give to several of these things independently of what we give to the church. So you can all do that, and I recommend you do. And I think we had a pretty good, did the ice cream certificate get awarded? Dare I ask? Who? Ah, Gabe. Sweet. 4 tickets. They stuffed to the ballot box. All right, that's cool. Gabe. That's Kendall and Martha's grandson, one of 4 grandchildren. How cool. They were very excited, I guess. Some adults are still bent out of shape that they couldn't be in on the. It really cracks me up. No, I think the 31 flavors is like really. I'm a child of God. Yeah, that's great. Okay, other questions? Yes, Neil.
Yeah, quick question. On the cost of living increases,
Yep.
is that how is that besides that historical cost of living increase?
I believe we usually get that from some government website that does the estimating of what cost of living is.
Just slightly concerned, just as
Inflation's going up. Yeah.
and are we keeping up with where things are going to be
Yeah.
over the next 12 months?
Right. And I think probably what we'll need to do as elders is take another look at that, like mid-year, and see what the cost of living is actually. I mean, this was a forecast given probably 6 months or a year ago, and so that's just usually what we go with. And then, of course, it's only been in the last couple of months after the budget's already been kind of put together. So someone who's an elder, make a note. We should talk about that mid-year. Or Nance, make a note for the elders. Thank you. Cost of living. Okay. Yes, Damien. Yes. We took the money that we had budgeted and we set it aside to add to it for this coming year, because the amount that's there is, I mean, the goal of field visitation, she's asking about the field visitation number under missions. Our goal is that we would actually send some of our members, really if we could do it every year, it'd be terrific, to visit our different missionaries in their different fields. Tyler went, you went too, right, Olivia? Yeah, their family went a few years ago to visit the Bamfords. We were planning to go to Slovenia to visit the Winds, who are going to be here next Sunday, by the way, Hondo and Tricia and their kids. But COVID killed it. But we didn't want to just not use that money, so we actually put it in a designated account so that it can accumulate and make it easier to get somebody there, or, you know, future years. So I think we're still hoping to go to Slovenia, but we have to work out those details. International travel is just weird right now. Other questions? Okay, so this budget basically is coming to you as a motion from the elders to approve for this coming fiscal year. Before we actually get to the voting, we have some other things, don't we? Don't we have do you want me to go ahead and do the members thing, or are you going to do that? Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna put before you some items to vote on. While I'm explaining, Scott, would you be willing to? Okay, so just a reminder of how voting works and why we do this. Just so you know, the budget we're putting before you, the members we're putting before you, the officers that we're putting before you on the ballot here, none of this is the elders or the staff saying this is what we are going to do, so get on board. We as a church family are making a decision. So this is the elders saying, we believe these people are qualified for membership. We believe this is where the Lord is leading us. Do you agree with that? And if not, you have space on that ballot to explain why not and to talk about that. But just so you know, you are the church, okay? This is not something that other people are doing that you kind of just are you're just kind of like a viewer or an observer of, but you are participating. So just to walk through our new members or the people we were putting before for membership, we'll be doing speeches in just a moment. Just kidding. Kendall and Martha Weeks, Don and Judy Hale, Bob and Sandra Archer, Carrie Wooldridge, Claire Barton, Jerry and Becky Harris, Todd and Norma Baker, and Ken and Lynette Dunkel. And that is Ken, even though he doesn't have the beard in the picture. That is him, I promise. Or at least he's fooled me, too. So those are our members. So I'm going to just give you guys all a moment to fill out that ballot. And let me remind you, at the top it asks, are you a member of Felida Bible Church? Even if you are a member but you forget to mark that, we can't count your vote. Okay, so it's very important that you mark that. Is that what you were coming up to say? Yep. Okay. All right. When you are done with that, go ahead and hold up your hand.
Anybody need one who does not have one as a member? I think we got them all.
So Tyler, do we wait till next time to vote, or?
If you were just on the slide, you need to wait. Yeah, thanks. I'm going to when people are done. And I've got a couple. I have a book of Bible trivia questions, and it actually says that in the introduction. There's nothing trivial about it. Okay, make sure you hold that ballot up in the air if you're finished. Okay. All right, so as the last couple of ballots get grabbed and then they'll be counted in the back, I know you just all asked Scott questions about the budget, but this is the last item on the agenda. Are there any other questions that you want to ask before I start talking about other things that are killing time? Joan, go ahead. The narthex. I'm glad we're using that word today. I can put them up again. I don't think that we've got a great spot in the foyer to do that, but I can put the pictures up here again. You can just sort of absorb the beautiful faces. There was another hand raised I saw. Go ahead, Lloyd. Thanks, Lloyd. Yeah. Thanks for saying that. It's good to hear that. Thank you. Anything else? Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, so the question was, are we still going to be using those QR codes? Yes, we are. And one of the 23 goals is create better signage for them. And so one of my friends is actually creating a digital QR code that will go inside every pew and to replace those ones. And so that's why we haven't put them up on every others, because in the near future we're planning on just replacing them all anyway. So, any others? Okay, I just wanted to share a few things. I took a few notes on my phone as we were going through the family meeting, and I wanted to encourage you guys on just a few thoughts that ran through my head. I don't know if you heard from Peter's story. He said he grew up in the church, one of our sister churches. He's 21 years old now. He started going to that church when he's 5. So if your kid is down in childcare right now, I just want to remind you that you may very well be discipling a future pastor, missionary, and even if the Lord doesn't have them go into vocational ministry, we still want the Lord to be using our kids for future impact. And so this is not to shine too much of a spotlight on Peter, but his parents were faithful. And so I just want to encourage you parents, encourage myself, to be faithful in discipling our kids and be intentional in that. One of the things he said is, my parents were really solid in the faith. And so don't make the mistake of thinking, just bringing my kids to church on Sunday so they go to Sunday school, that's going to do it. It's not. You need to be intentional in discipling your kids. And that's actually one of the things that Cindy mentioned when she talked about training events for parents. So just wanted to encourage you parents and grandparents with that as well, to be consistently praying for and to be intentional in discipling your kids. I also was thinking through our food pantry, as Jenny was saying, we really want to use that as an outreach. Just remembering that beautiful Venn diagram. Connecting people to a world that needs them. That is a very practical tool that we're trying to not only meet the needs of our church community, but to give you guys to connect with the world that needs you. Your neighbors who might be struggling with food or family or somebody you know. So just want to encourage you that was a tool to do. And then, are we done with counting? Okay. Well, the last thing I said was just the question came up about sexuality and gender training. And I just read something recently I wanted to share with you guys that I don't know if you're familiar with the idea of catechism or catechizing. A lot of people associate with Catholicism, but it's not just that. That's something in church history where you try to instill the values of the Bible, the theology of the Bible into your kids. And just to recognize the culture is catechizing us, not just our kids, all of us. And we need to be intentional to de-catechize things that are unbiblical. And that's probably not a word that we're going to use about that sexuality and gender training, but that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to de-catechize some cultural values that are not in line with Scripture. So again, going back to and being intentional to disciple your kids, but even in discipling yourself, even in movies you watch, products you buy, entertainment you consume, all of that stuff, just be aware. All of it is intended to shape you in some way. And so be aware, just as intentional as you can be, to catechize both the younger people in your life and yourself. Okay, so those were just a few of my notes. Unfortunately, we didn't get to Bible trivia, but if you stick around, I'll be in the foyer, or narthex. Yeah. Dan has the results.
Thing I get to do at these meetings, and I'm happy to do it. It's unanimous on everything. So new members, welcome to the family. And yeah, that's that.
You done with them? Okay, several of these people are here, so I have you raise your hand. There's Claire right there. Carrie's right there. Stand up. Well, Martha and Kendall are right there. There is Becky Harris. There is Todd and Norma. And did we lose Ken? Oh, Ken. Yes, Ken's learning. Woo! And Lynette. Did I miss anybody? Don and Judy, where are they? Oh, there they are, right there, Don and Judy Hale. Welcome, all of you. We're so glad to have you officially as part of the family. Yeah. Okay. Anything else for the good of the order before I close this in prayer? You're getting out before noon. That's pretty cool. Oh, yeah, Tyler's ordination. Tyler's thing. Tonight, 6 o'clock, right here. So it'll be fun. There'll be refreshments, dessert after that, too. So pace yourselves. Let me pray. Father, it is astounding to me that I have now been a part of this church for 38 years. Coming as someone not much older than Peter, and going through that whole schooling thing and doing internships, and now to have the privilege of being one of the shepherds of your flock here is just a great honor. It is great to be able to have a family meeting and share the good things that you've been doing in a very hard year, and to look forward with enthusiasm and optimism and confidence in what you're going to do in the months to come and years. Lord, how you have blessed us. Thank you for these sweet people. Thank you that we get to partner together. Keep our eyes on the prize. Keep us focused on what our purpose is. And God, we know that apart from your grace, we can't do it, but with your grace, this is what you're calling us to do. So may we be faithful, Lord. Help us, we pray in Jesus' name. We give you thanks. Amen. You are dismissed. If you brought children, leave with children. Yes.